I was born in an occupied country. My forefathers lost the biggest war the world has ever seen, so I am to bear this burden. This is my communique. Before that war, my people lived in a proud and great nation. We had values, morals and ideals, all that grew over almost 2000 years. My ancestors had part in the most important technological inventions, brought forth some of the greatest artists, musicians, mathematics, scientists and philosophers. There was a higher reason to work together, a higher reason to hold together, to protect this community. That all changed after the war. History is written by the winner, so you will not find much about my tellings in your average history book. You will most likely believe that my country was freed from tyranny, freed from terror and hatred. You may rest assured that tyranny and terror came over my ancestors after the war. Millions were perished, slaughtered, raped and displaced. Millions of soldiers were starved to death after the end of war. Millions of civilians were targeted, murdered, burned alive. Children were raped. Thousands and thousands of innocent children, and yet you will read about the liberation of my country. The deeds performed by those liberators will never be forgotten, never be forgiven. One cannot hide the truth forever. Our kings and emperors were wiped out. The soul of our nation was extinguished for a regime of puppets and traitors controlled by the victors. We were presented with the gifts of democracy and capitalism. They brought us central banks and interests, ran by private organizations and families, to effectively enslave my people to this very day. You might ask, what was the reason for that war? Why was this ancient, great nation destroyed and all the ideals its people stood for? The answer to that question is as simple as dirty. Fear, anger, perfidy, mammonism. My forefathers stood up against a system of true tyranny, a system which has no respect for life or nature, a system based on pure greed and therefore pure evil. Ironically, the people and nations that are controlled by that evil force call and defend it as freedom and peace. If you are born in that system, you have little and no chance to escape the oppression of your mind, and you most likely are not even aware about that. You know what you have to know. You believe what you have to believe. Free thinking gets trained out of you early. You will get drilled into believing that the only worthy goal in life is to attain prosperity. You will get drilled into believing the only goal of life is to make money. Money, a fictive, worthless construct envisioned by paper and digital numbers without meaning or purpose. And yet, you bow to that construct as if it was your God. What you don't learn in schools and universities is a simple rule. For a few people in prosperity, many have to be in poverty. My forefathers, along with their brave allies, made the last stand against this inhumane, destructive and diabolic regiment. A regiment of a few which conduct the entire nations. For losing that war, they paid the highest price imaginable and sacrificed even their heir because they did not bow. Look around you and for once, be honest to yourself. You live your life. You most likely trade away most of your lifetime with a useless activity which doesn't even satisfy you, in case of exchange for colorful pieces of paper. In your spare time, you play video games, spent your paper money and watched television where you got told that everything is in best order. I tell you now, nothing is in order. To keep up the illusion of such called Western democratic civilizations, millions have to suffer. Millions have to serve a few. My nation was turned into another servant. This is a wake-up call. This is the distress call. Do you truthfully believe this way of living can get applied to the entire world? Do you believe you belong to the good guys? Do you really still fall for cheap propaganda spread by private media? We live in a world where morals and manners are lost. Pornography everywhere. We walk around as spiritless consumers. We hate each other. All bands of fellowship, trust and communion are forsaken. Along the way, billions of sentient beings are slaughtered each year to feed us with pure death, killing us from the inside. We go to war with other nations based on pure lies. The majority of you consumes alcohol and other drugs on regular basis to escape this situation, at least for a little while. Democracy turned out as a huge hoax and distraction. In reality, all what really matters is money and capital. Do not tell me you did not know this already. Tell me now, how could this world be any worse? Why should I feel liberated? Post-war, the people of this nation were liberated from their property, their lands, their lives, their company and their culture. You know the truth. You are just too scared to look into that abyss. I was born in an occupied country, and I'm telling you a different version of history. The history I learned from people who lived through it. I was born in Germany. I was born in the pitiful remnants of the German Empire, and I cannot stand the most utter lies anymore.